Do you feel like your fear is getting in the way of you accomplishing your dreams? I could totally relate to this. When I would set a goal for myself that seemed really daunting, or if I was going to take a journey that I never experienced before, there were so many fears that would come up that would even try to stop me from starting. But when I was able to identify the 3 fears that held me back the most, along with what I can do to overcome them, nothing has been able to stop me from getting to where I want to be. I'm Thomas Edwards, creator and author of The 1-Up Effect, helping top performers who have families have fun becoming their most complete self through purpose, play, passion, and performance. In this video today, I'm going to share with you the 3 common fears most people experience and what you can do to overcome them and propel you to greater success and happiness. Listen, there are so many things in life that we're afraid of, and it's totally okay. It's a normal part of the human experience. But this whole idea of being fearless is kind of dumb, because fear will naturally exist in our minds. And so this idea of being fearless is unrealistic. But what is more effective is identifying these fears and having solutions for overcoming them, so that way it's not something that's in the way of you being able to get towards your success. So I'm going to share with you the 3 main fears that I came across personally in my life and what I was able to do to overcome them and propel myself towards success and greater happiness. The first one, which I believe is the main one, is fear of failure. Whenever I would try something new, or if I had a lofty goal that I had for myself, the first thing that would come up would be this fear of failure. Not being able to accomplish it, not being good at it. But the truth is, when you're trying something new, it's very likely that you're gonna suck at it at first. That's just going to be the case. It's very rare. And that just requires natural talent, that when you do something for the first time, that you're actually going to be good at it. So to have this expectation that you're just going to be amazing is unrealistic. You have to start to identify what failure looks like for you, and if that is even an unrealistic definition. Oftentimes we feel like if we don't make the destination, if we don't accomplish the goal, that it is a failure. When the reality is, if you started and kept going, you don't fail until you stop. And if you're committed to continue to go, you will perpetually get better, and eventually you will be able to hit your goal. Doesn't matter how much time it takes. But the fact is, if you're committed to your goal, you're going to do everything possible to get there. As long as I'm continuing to play the game, then failure doesn't exist. What exists is feedback. What exists is data that I can look at and determine how I can show up better and do better each and every time. But I don't fail until I stop. The second fear that came up for me pretty often was the fear of disappointing others. Going a little bit deeper in this fear of disappointing others, I realized that a part of it was what I was making up in my mind. I had these thoughts that my friends and my family had such high level expectations of me that if I weren't to meet them, that they would just abandon me and leave me in my life. My closest people in my life, my family, my friends, they don't judge me. They just want me to win. And they don't care how many times it takes me to try to get there. All they're gonna do is continue to root me on and support me every step of the way. If you feel like you're being judged, and if you feel like you're not being supported, then you need to assess who's in your life and start to surround yourself with people who don't judge you, only want the best for you, and really just want you to win. I believe that the deeper fear of disappointment is disappointing me. There's a fear of me being disappointed that I couldn't get to the goal that I wanted to. And once again, what I recommend doing, if that's something that you relate to, is to take in a really deep look and really understand, hey, is that true? Or is it pretty badass that I'm actually going after something that I haven't done before that could relatively change my life? And the amount of courage and bravery that's required to take that step and continue to go through it, that commitment. Oftentimes, we have to just reframe what we're paying attention to when it comes to the expectations we have of ourselves and the reality of what's actually happening. So that way, that fear of disappointing yourself also alleviates, and you're more celebrating yourself with every effort you give. And the third fear that came up for me is not being good enough. Oftentimes when I would go through a period of great challenge, I would think about, hey, am I good enough to do this? This particularly came up a lot with my book. Part of the reason why I didn't write my book for so many years is because I would say, man, I'm not a great writer. I'm not an author. I can't publish a best-selling book. These would be the stories and the programs in my mind that would run my life and my decision-making and prevent me from writing the book. And what I realized was those fears were completely irrational, because it's not up to me to, in some ways, to determine if I'm going to create a best-selling book. But it is going to be up to me if I'm going to write a book, if I'm going to become an author, and if I'm going to become a good writer. I have control over those things. And so realizing that, hey, if I'm going to actually do this, then I am good enough to do this. That's the thing that people sometimes fail to realize, is once you make the decision, that decision is affirmation that you are good enough to have and get those things. So the next time you apply for a job and you start to immediately think, man, I'm not qualified for this job. I don't have such and such a skill. The fact that you're applying for the job is actually implicit affirmation that you are good enough for that job. But this is what I think. Comment below, let me know what you think. Are these fears that you can relate to? Do any of these fears are more prominent when it comes to holding you back from going after what you want? And what are you doing to process and alleviate these fears? How do you feel about these suggestions that I gave you? Comment below, let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell, get notified when we put out videos, which happen almost every single day. And if you found this video interesting or inspiring, please share this with someone who might find this interesting or inspiring too. I'd love to hear what they have to say and get them in on the conversation. And if you want to learn the exact process and science behind leveling up your health, wealth, self, marriage, family, and your career, have fun, and not have to sacrifice personal happiness or professional ambition, you can go to thomasedwardsjr.com. Once again, this is Thomas Edwards reminding you to make life a game that you can win and have fun playing. Until next time, I'll see you around.